here's a person who would be keen to see who these people are exactly. The murder of Senzo Meyiwa 6 years ago has had many speculating who pulled the trigger. So those who were with him on the day have been accused of covering up the murder, but that has not been proven. Renowned music producer Chicco Thwala's son, Longwe Thwala, has been under a cloud of suspicion for a while. Meyiwa's cousin, Siyabonga Meya, accusing Longwe of the murder, allegations that Chicco has denied on several occasions. And let's speak now to Chicco Thwala and the feeling after the arrest of the 5 suspects. Mr. Thwala, thank you very much for making the time to talk to us once again here at Newzroom Afrika. For the record, tell us whether or not your son is certainly not among those who are arrested today.
Collie, I lost you a bit there.
All right. I'm just asking if you can confirm for us, for the record, that your son is not among the 5 suspects arrested.
Collie, definitely my son is not amongst the 5. My son is still at the rehab center in Krugersdorp. And if there was any arrest, I would definitely know. But my son or Kelly Khumalo, any people that, what's the name, I spoke to Kelly the day before, none of them. I'm not sure who's there, to be honest with you, but my son is not one of them.
Yeah, okay. And I see you joining us today via Zoom, and it's quite nice to see your face finally. I'm just going to ask you to lean back a little bit so that we can see you properly. It's interesting what you're saying, that you've already been in contact with Kelly. That's fine. You have, you mentioned that you've been in contact with Kelly Khumalo. That's the person who was Senzo Meyiwa's girlfriend at the time. Were you made aware that there were going to be arrests? Why did you make contact with her?
No, we actually spoke about, you remember the interview that I had with you? Day before, when I contacted Kelly, we're just talking like our normal chat. It has nothing to do with the arrest that we're going to happen.
Yeah, and it must come as a relief that neither your son nor Kelly Khumalo at this stage are under a cloud of suspicion. The 5 people that are arrested, do you have any inkling who they might be?
Okay, I don't know anything, to be honest with you. I don't know the people who are arrested. I was never part of the whole thing. I knew that my son, one thing for sure what I knew is that my son would never actually pull a trigger or take a gun or hit somebody. That I knew. My son, yes, if someone comes to me that my son is a druggie or he steals, I'll definitely agree with him. Yeah. But my son pulling a trigger, hitting someone, I couldn't just, I would defend him because I know he will never do such a thing.
And we listened to the police minister yesterday, Pegicele, saying that these 5 are possibly going to tell us exactly what happened, and it might lead to more arrests. You're still confident that your son is clear and there won't be anything that brings the investigators to his door?
Colleague, to be honest with you, it would have long happened. You would have been arrested a while ago. Like I said before, that, there were 8 people when Senzo was shot. There is no way that those 8 people will never identify who the killer is. Remember, when someone gets shot, immediately people get shocked and then they will scream. And they would have beaten my son on the spot to death. I mean, there's no way that those 8 people would have actually identified him as the murderer. On that day, I doubt, definitely. It's common sense. 8 people, there's no way that you'll never silence 8 people.
Yeah.
8 people, including Senzo's friends, you'll never silence them. It's impossible. You will never even bribe them. You'll never bribe any policeman or 8. It's impossible. It just doesn't make sense.
Mr. Thwala, let me draw your attention to Senzo Meyiwa's mother. A very emotional interview that we had here on Newzroom Afrika. I wonder if you saw that interview and what she had to say. And she seems to be holding on to at least her suspicions that the 5 people, or the people, I should say, that were inside that home, Kelly Khumalo's mother's home, at the time that this happened, surely they saw something. They should have come forward and said something a long time ago. How would you react to that kind of... she's quite convinced that the people who were inside that house, included, of course, is or was your son, Longwe Thwala. How do you respond?
I think that is obvious. If you are in the... they were all in a crime scene. When the incident happened, they were there. Yes, they have to know who pulled the trigger. She's right. I agree with her 100%. The 8 people who were in the house, they definitely know. So if the people who pulled the trigger are those who are arrested today, then it's those who are arrested. We cannot deny that Longwe, Kelly, and all of them, they were present. Definitely, she's right, 100% right. And they are the ones who must tell her who pulled the trigger. But if they told the police...
Tell me, Mr. Thwala, the police yesterday are saying that what happened in that house on that fateful day was not a robbery gone wrong. If anything, they are highly suspicious that it was a hit. In fact, AfriForum, who are helping the Meyiwa family, they are convinced that there is a mastermind behind this. Take us back to what your son, Longwe, told you of what happened that day.
My son told me, if I recalled, my son told me there was a person who was going up and down outside with a phone. He doesn't know who he was talking to. I don't want to mention the name. Amongst the people who were in the house, he mentioned that someone was making up and down, going in and out and all that.
Yeah.
And you'll recall that at some stage I made the statement that I went to the Hawks to investigate certain people. They must not focus on Kelly, my son, and other people. They must extend their arm of investigation, you know, because sometimes, I even said it might be a hit as well. I remember saying that, because what my son told me made me to have lots of suspicion. But unfortunately, the police, fortunately, probably because of the arrest that we have now, maybe the police actually did everything that they could to lead to the arrest. Probably what I suspected.
Yeah.
It's what is happening now.
And I'm quite intrigued by what you're saying, that you're not going to mention a name. Is the name of this person who was walking up and down with the phone, is the name of this person known to you? I don't want you to disclose him because you respect certain things.
He's not known to me. I don't know him. I have never met him. I am told that he's one of Senzo's friends. But I don't know if it's the right part. I'm telling you what my son told me on the day. So hence I'm saying that, look, I cannot say it's him or whatever that person, but I am told that there was a person who was going in and out of the house with the phone before the incident happened. So that was what my son told me. And because remember, this thing affected me badly, my name, and I had to interrogate my son. I had to actually ask him. I had to beg him to tell me the truth, you know. And he was sober at the time. That's what he told me.
I want to wrap this up, Mr. Thwala, by asking the question. It must come as a relief to you today that there are 5 suspects who do not include your son, who do not include Kelly Khumalo. Police are convinced that there is a mastermind. There was a hit put out on Senzo Meyiwa. It seems that we are at least going somewhere. We're not yet to finality on this case, but we're reaching a particular conclusion. We're going somewhere with the case. It must come as a relief to you and your family that your son is not among those who are arrested. How is the feeling?
To be honest with you, I'll be very happy if those who are arrested today, you know, are the right culprits. That will make me more happy because, you know, just to meet also Senzo's family, for me, it will be a nice thing because I really have sleepless. I can't even go to visit Durban, Guamashu and all that because, you know, my gun has been identified as the weapon that killed Senzo. And I mean, as Senzo's family, even last week, they actually said, my son is the one who pulled the trigger. And then because the reason given was that he was fighting with his girlfriend and all that. Now, you see, the story has now turned. It's no longer that he was fighting with the girlfriend. Senzo was mistakenly shot by my son, and Kelly and them were protected. It's now hit and all that. You hear all these different stories.
Yeah.
I think for me, to be honest with you, we really need to find out what exactly happened. If it's a hit, then, you know, it's a different story compared to what we had on social media and all that, and what Beirut actually spread. Beirut is the one who actually spread it in this situation today.
Yeah. Final question to you, Mr. Thwala, and I can see that the technology is letting us down as we taper down here. The journalists, I'm about to speak to someone who is an expert in how journalists conduct their work. Tell us about how you see this having played out, and whether you feel that media may have treated you in a manner that is unfair. How do you feel towards the journalists and the work that they did in as far as trying to keep this story alive? Because it was important for us, the media, to keep the story alive so that law enforcement does what it's supposed to do.
To be honest, I don't blame the media. Social media is actually the ones that I blame. Maybe I should differentiate between you guys and social media, because social media can be someone sitting at home bored and all that and start spreading these rumors, you know. But obviously some of the content that the media they took it from social media. But social media is the one that actually spread these lies more than anyone else.
Chicco Thwala, thank you very much for your time, sir, and your continued persistence to talk to us whenever we call on you. Thanks indeed for your time.